This is the Hyundai i30N, and it's a little bit like Korean fried chicken because it's Hyundai's take on the classic hot hatch recipe, and we'll be finding out in this video just how tasty it really is. Now I'm going to talk you around the exterior, the interior, explain the upgrades over the standard i30 and some changes that Hyundai have made to this car as part of a recent midlife facelift. Obviously I'm going to launch it as well to see how quick it is from 0 to 60 miles an hour. I'm Matt Watson and you're watching CarWow. Buy, sell, CarWow. The i30N is powered by a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine. Now Hyundai have tweaked it slightly, so it's now got 280 horsepower, which is an increase of 5 horsepower over the previous car. However, torque is now up to 392 newton meters, which is 39 newton meters more than before. We'll find out just how quick it is in a bit when I launch it. Now if you like these kind of videos, make sure you're subscribed to this channel and hit the bell icon to turn your notifications on so you don't miss a single upload. The i30N has upgraded brakes over the standard i30, though Hyundai hasn't changed them as part of the facelift. They're the same as they were before. So you've got 360mm discs up front and 314 at the rear, both gripped by single piston calipers. Let's try them out. Okay, let's do an emergency stop from 60 miles an hour. See how long it takes this car to stop. Right, how long did it take? 35 meters. That's about average. The i30N has load stiffened sport suspension compared to the standard i30. It actually sits 8mm low to the ground. It also gets adaptive dampers as standard. And for this latest generation version, Hyundai's tweaked that setup ever so slightly. It also gets beefier anti-roll bars than the standard car, plenty of chassis bracing, and an electronically controlled limited slip differential on the front axle. The i30N comes with either a short throw 6-speed manual or an 8-speed dual clutch auto with launch control. Obviously it's front wheel drive only, unlike the Toyota GR Yaris, which is 4-wheel drive, and if that's more your bag, click on the pop-out banner up there or follow the link in the description below to watch my video on that car. Okay, let's see what this Hyundai i30 is like to drive. Let's go for it. Oh yeah, good gear shift, solid. Let's go to N mode for maximum attack. Oh my gosh, I think I've now got maximum discomfort in my spine. This car is skipping about all over the place. The suspension is too hard in N mode. What I'm going to do is switch into custom, where I've set everything else up for maximum attack, but the suspension is soft. Even then it's still quite firm, so the car does stay nice and level in the bends. It's flowing more down the road rather than just skipping down it. Oh, that's good. The rev matching on this car is brilliant. So what's also good, just the balance of the car. It really gives you loads of confidence to just hoon it around. The steering is sharp and precise. It's a total maniac. You get some great noises from the exhaust. You're just changing gear for the hell of it. Oh, the gear shift is good. It's not as slick as the gear shift on a Honda Civic Type R. On track, you'll notice the Civic just seems just more keyed in, but still overall, this is an absolute blast to drive on a twisty road. The N version of the i30 has a much more aggressive nose on it with big air vents. You also get this red piping here as well. And as part of the midlife facelift, they've added these little bits there and some new headlights. The LEDs, obviously. You got 19-inch alloy wheels as standard. The designs are different than before, but you still get red brake calipers. Over the standard car, you get this side skirt here, which is essential, obviously, on a hot hatch, as is the roof spoiler. No change there, though. What is new are the design of the tail lamps. As before, you got your i30N badge there. You've also got fake diffuser. That's just like on the previous generation version. However, what they have done is move the red piping from here, so it's on this part of the car. They've also made the exhaust pipes slightly larger. So I think the exhaust within is about the same size. Now, the starting price of this car is £34,000 compared to the normal i30. The N gets a sports steering wheel with an N on it. You also get some drive mode buttons, an N on your rev counter, some shift up lights, there's aluminium pedals, an N knob. You also get some stitching that's contrasted, and you get N floor mats, N kit plates, and some N sport seats, and these are actually new compared to the previous i30N. But they even have this little illuminated N badge on them, which is really cool. What's also new is this larger infotainment screen. Obviously, one of the key things with a hot hatch is that not only should it be fun to drive, it should be easy to live with, and so this Hyundai i30N needs to be able to cope round town. One of the things that you get as standard is all-round parking sensors and a reversing camera, which is handy when it comes to slotting the car into space, and you've got decent visibility and stuff like that, which is all good. And it's reasonably easy to manoeuvre. The steering weight is quite chunky even when you have the car in normal mode, but it's not too bad, and so it's quite easy to park and manoeuvre. You do notice that the clutch is a little bit on the firm side, so if you do a lot of town driving and you want a sporty car, then you probably want the automatic version of this i30N. Now, one of the big complaints about this car previously was the fact that the suspension was too firm even when you had it in its softest setting. So Hyundai's worked on that, and I'm happy to report that it is better than before. It still has a firm edge to it, and I think that a Honda Civic Type R in its softest mode is still a bit better over bumps than this, but it's not too bad. So then in town overall, it's not brilliant, but it's not terrible either. Another key feature of a hot hatch is that it's still practical for your family. So look, there's plenty of room in the back seats, loads of headroom, and knee room's especially good. I think it's because these sport seats are even thinner than the seats you get on the standard i30, so it's even better here in the sporty model. So too the seats here in the back, because you get this lovely grippy Alcantara material on them. Oh, there's also some sporty floor mats as well to lift the cabin a bit. When you get out on faster roads, you do appreciate the punch from this car's engine. So I'm at 15/4, put my foot down, it responds really well, hardly any lag, and then you can just punch past other cars to overtake. But then once you're up to speed, you notice probably the biggest issue with long distance driving in this Hyundai. The tyres make a lot of noise when you're going at 70 miles an hour. That gets on your nerves after a while. You do end up turning the stereo quite a bit. Another thing I've noticed, the seat base is quite firm, so you can get a bit of an achy bottom after a long time behind the wheel. In fact, as a daily, it's livable. This car is a lot of fun, and obviously it's compromised in certain areas to make it fun in others, and I can accept that. The boot capacity of the i30N is less than the standard i30 is at 381 litres. Still, that's okay. Anyway, that brings on to 5 annoying things about the i30N. There are only 2 standard colours, flat red and flat black, neither of which you really want. You have to pay extra for anything else, and you definitely want this colour because it's the best. It's £585 though. I've got the car set up exactly as I want it in N custom mode like that. Trouble is though, when I turn it off and restart it, it always defaults to normal mode, so I have to do the pressing of buttons again. Why can't I just have the car start as I like it? It's my car. If you want the automatic version of this car, you have to pay an extra £2,000. Well, actually, you have to pay an extra £2,500 because for the first year of road tax, the automatic is £500 a year more than the normal manual. The normal i30 is available with adaptive cruise control, so it uses a radar to keep you a safe distance from the car in front. However, that radar system is not available on the i30N. This is normal cruise control, which is useless. One of the manufacturers managed to add chassis bracing to their sporty cars and keep it hidden under the floor. Hyundai have fitted this bar which is in the boot, and it affects the practicality. You can remove it if you want to by unscrewing some bolts, but really, you shouldn't have to do that. It's not all negative though. Here's 5 good things about this car. Unlike many other manufacturers, Hyundai lets you configure all the different settings of the car individually, so you can create your perfect setup in custom mode. So you can choose different settings for the aggressiveness and responsiveness of the engine, how quick the rev matching is for the gearbox, how aggressive the electronically controlled limited slip differential is, how noisy the exhaust is, how much the ESC intervenes, how weighted the steering is, and how stiff the suspension is. Brilliant. The i30N appears to do a big to the latest noise regulations because there's no soft limiter here, and this exhaust system is super raucous. Go on, start it up and rev it. Oh yeah, antisocial. These sports seats are 2 kilograms lighter than those in the old car, and the wheels are 14 kilograms lighter overall, and that's unsprung mass, which helps improve the handling. Hyundai's come with a 5-year warranty. Now the one on the i30N actually extends to track use, so you won't invalidate your warranty if you hoon it endlessly around a track. Well, so long as you don't modify the car. The i30N has a load of performance related gauges, and you can show 2 of them at once. So the gauges are oil temperature, coolant, speed, power, torque, and turbo. plus you have a G meter as well. On top of that, you have a performance timer, so you can actually measure your lap times and your acceleration, so 0 to 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. How far will it go up? 120 is the maximum it'll allow you to measure to. Hyundai says the manual version of this i30N should do 0 to 60 in 5.9 seconds, which is 0.2 of a second quicker than the old car. But let's see what I can get. I'm going to use my specialist timing gear up here and try not to spin up the wheels too much whilst also not bogging down. Come on. A bit of boggage, but no spinach. Oh, it's spinning there. And traction there again. 7.16. All right, let's try with traction off. See if we can do better. It's a bit better. Spinning there though. It's pulling through. Better. 6.75. Not 5.9 though, is it? Maybe if I had the auto, I'd launch better. Speaking of which, that is supposed to do 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds. I think it might have the same problem with traction and wheel spinach and stuff. So then, what's my final verdict on the Hyundai i30N? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I reckon you should shortlist the i30N. It really is a good, fun, hot hatch.